Thank you, everyone. My name is J. Paul Lou Anthony Patrick O'Horrigan. A good Polish name. Very much Irish. I am considered the poet laureate of Virginia City, and we're going to do a variety of stuff today. We are going to have some fun. If I can possibly force us into having fun, we're going to have some fun today. Now, I think I'm going to start off on a little lead-in story. When I was about 7, 8, maybe 9 years old, my mom and dad took me out to dinner. Now, it was a pretty nice restaurant, and I ordered frog legs. I had never had frog legs, so I ordered a platter of frog legs. They taste like chicken, like a lot of things do. So on the way out, rather than going out the front exit through the parking lot, my dad went around behind the restaurant, down the alley, and out. Now, once again, I'm 8 years old or so, and I'm hanging my head out the rear window, and as we go behind the restaurant, I see all these frogs on little walkers. And I'm still traumatized from that sight. So, I still have, needless to say, I've never had frog legs since. Now, getting up to present, the other night, a lady invites me out to a restaurant, and it's a sushi place. And they got this big sign, freshest sushi in all of Nevada. Well, the only problem was, when I'm up at the sushi bar, I'm looking, and a lot of the pieces of fish still had the eyes in them. So I just kind of scoop up a bunch of this, and I head over to the table, and I get to the table, and some of what I have on my plate is actually wiggling. And I just can't, and I think I'm done with the sushi. So there's my lead-in for gourmet bait. Gourmet bait, are you ready? Gourmet bait, just for you. Frog legs and crawfish pie, shrimp and oyster stew, clams still in the shell, lobster and crab from waters blue, catfish, codfish, shark, sardines, halibut and bass. It's all a gift from Mother Nature, but on sushi, I'll have to pass. Uncooked fish is not a delicacy unless to another fish I'd rather dine on chicken, break the bone and make a wish. Eating fish that just stopped wiggling, with or without fins, is not the kind of food for me when dinner time begins. Tuna, salmon, trout and perch, mackerel, flounder, or swordfish, I'd rather have almost anything than fresh bait upon my dish. Of course, there are those that love the stuff. Maybe to them it spells romance, and they say there's still a market for chocolate-covered ants. The next one I'm going to do, I think, is, if it's not my trademark poem, it's becoming, I would have to say, my trademark dry humor poem. When I wrote this one, I don't usually laugh when I'm writing humor, when I'm writing dry humor especially. This one had me thinking, where in the world did I come up with this idea? This is called holy water. Now I'm driving down the highway and I have no yesterday's coffee. I have no soda, no water. I am dying of thirst, nothing to drink. Finally, I see a sign for a little town, so I whip in off the exit, pull in, but the town is so small, it doesn't even have a convenience store, but it has a church. So I pull on into the church parking lot, and I'm going, well, 2:30 on a Tuesday afternoon, what's the chance this place is open? Be slim or none. But I run up the stairs, and the door opens right up, and I go in, and there's no one. Hello? No one in there, but there is a reservoir of holy water. Down at the church, I drank some holy water. I was dry enough to spit dust. With any chance, the transformed water would flush out toxins, lead, and rust. Now, in about a half an hour, my only word was, wow! I turned glow white and levitated. Glory be and holy cow! I soon felt as if I drank love potion number 9. I had an attitude adjustment like 3 Valiums mixed with wine. Maybe I finally knew the secret that made the priests and nuns all smile. The holy H2O plugged me in and changed my dials. Floating down the street, I shook hands with everyone. I walked right over puddles like God's one and only Son. Just kidding. Every time I saw a peace sign, I shouted, yeah, right on. I was intoxicated with love and all my aches and pains were gone. Yahoo, amen. I felt like dancing. I finally found a harmless high. I loved everybody everywhere. The only way to go is fly. It's too bad that few believe me, especially folks from overseas, where camel dung daily hits the fan and ruins the desert breeze. The day was bliss, evening was great, stars lit up, midnight pity be to all the people who still live life uptight. If you happen upon a church while out upon your way, stop in and take a sip and have a really happy day. Now, real religion is a simple thing, me to you, one to the other. Life is short. Love one another. Thank you. This next one is called Heaven's Bliss. Heaven's Bliss. And this is just for Mr. Joe right here. I think you might appreciate this. The first thing they do is slap you when you come to earth, and you have no teeth to bite them. Life can be all downhill from birth. You don't know how to use a toilet, so you have to poop your pants, and the aroma lingers from here to the south of France. Before you learn to walk, you have to roll around the floor, crawling through the crumbs and cobwebs. When it rains, it pours. When they serve you blended food and then it comes out the same, why can't they understand you're really not the one to blame? From the moment of your birth, there's way too much to learn. Ice cubes are really cold and hot stuff really burns. Once you finally start to learn to walk before you learn to run, life is mostly fall down 2 steps, hit the floor, and you're done. Learning how to talk while trying not to swear, at the same time growing teeth as well as brand new hair. When you're really little, it's hard to grab some things. A lot of babies probably wonder why they weren't born with wings. I would suppose the best to come is when they learn to kiss, and no matter how you look at it, babies are truly heaven's bliss. Brand new? Do I have? Well, since you asked, I just happen to have a brand new one. We'll try this one out next. This is called, show yourself, As Bad as She Is. As Bad as She Is. This is one of Tom's favorites as of today. The ink is still wet. As bad as she is. She's a pathetic result of self-deception. A cell phone went alone without reception. A fishing adventure without any bait. A breakfast buffet that ran out of plates. A car that won't start. A tire gone flat. A walk in the rain without coat or hat. She's the kind that ignores you when she knows you've gone bust. She eats the whole pizza and leaves you the crust. She says she will when she knows that she won't. Gives you a boat, chances are will not float. eats all the cherries and then leaves you the pits. Starts to get frisky and then calls it quits. But as bad as she is, she has some good ways, and she snoodles and snuggles at the end of the day. Thank you. Next we have, I'm going to switch gears into this one. It's called Way Back When. Way Back When. If the worn and weary weathered floors could only speak, but yet they truly can. Listen close, they'll tell you tales from the times of way back when. Days of long ago echo dusty morning memories, twilight's special sunsets with spicy wood smoke on the breeze. When gun smoke and gold dust paved the way for travelers on the rocky trails, and San Francisco's golden day was filled with silken sails, Virginia City paved the way for silver dreams as yet to be, back in the days of horse and buggy when the West was still wild and free. The boardwalks, bricks, and wooden floors tell their tales to those with ears of the way it really was way back. Joy and laughter, sorrow, tears. Listen close, the travelers on the wind still speak stories from the past. The gold and silver decades when true Western characters were cast. Rusty, dusty, worn and weary, buckskin brass and old square nails. Listen to the wind in wooden floors still tell their timeless tales. Next, we're going to do one called, since we're on the Western kick, I wrote one called Express in an actual Pony Express stop in the middle of Carson City near the Capitol. It's now an art studio, art gallery and studio. At any rate, I was offered to borrow their porch one evening, and I did, right as the sun went down. And a few hours later, I came out with Express. 80 riders were employed by the Pony Express, not over 18, so they could handle duress. Expert riders were hired, orphans preferred. $25 weekly was the advertised word. In the year of 1860, Russell's, Majors, and Waddell sent the riders down a trail with their bags pell-mell. Young, wiry riders, both trim and lean, filled the order of the day in the American scene. For nearly 2,000 miles, documents and such were hurried from old Sacramento to St. Joseph, Missouri. 17 days' rides passing bags one to the other. The mail crossed the country, horse to horse, one to the other. Where the modern day coaches now diesel on through, the riders and their ponies were both tried and true. Till the telegraph and railroad made it a thing of the past, the horses and their riders moved both timely and fast. Through Nevada's windswept dusty canyons onward rolls the trail, be it hot, dry weather, snow, or bitter cold hail. Pony Bob Haslam from the Silver State rode for 35 steady hours to keep the mail from being late, delivering Lincoln's address. Billy Tate of Nevada's Carson City town at 14 years was Camp Ruby bound when he became waylaid by a war party band and defended the mail till he reached the promised land. In October of the year 1860, and one with a year and a half of its short history up and done, the times were steady changing and the riders were no more. But in the wind, they still travel on their way to heaven's door. Yeah. Wild Horse piece. I've done about a dozen. This is probably still my favorite, written above the Continental Mine Shaft outside Virginia City, about a mile, up in the peak of a hill up there. This one just kind of came to be. Legacy, legacy. In the rough and tumble Cougar Canyons, the wild horses give their best to survive the constant changes of the modern day Wild West. With fury, grace, and beauty, they stand for freedom born of dreams. And the rocky sagebrush hills that lead high up to mountain streams, as if time travelers from the past before barbed wire came to be, they defy mankind's encroachment, born to gallop free. May they survive for those to come. May their great legacy live on. May they never be remembered as a breed now up and gone. Thank you. As far as Virginia City, this is probably my most famous piece. I've written, I don't know how many thousand about Virginia City and Nevada in particular, but this one, I think I pretty much captured Virginia City with this particular piece. So this is simply called Virginia City Town. Virginia City Town. You could feel the rock and rumble when the trains rolled by in the town, much too graceful to ever up and die. And you can sense the way it was when the wagons made their way from the mines to Carson City back in the times of yesterday. You can see some of the places Samuel Clemens saw himself when his name changed to Mark Twain. And he got his taste of wealth. You can visit rustic mines where the gold and silver ore were labored to the sunlight so folks could gain a little more. You can see the Opera House and relive its years of glory when the best from days gone by came to perform and tell their stories. You can listen to the wind and smell the coffee from the past when it was iron, stone, and timber, and things were built to really last. You can walk the wooden boardwalks, you can dream and then reflect. You can help preserve the beauty from past storms and man's neglect. Most folks who've been most everywhere, the ones who've really been around, will agree the spirit's magic in Virginia City Town. Woo-hoo! Thank you. Thank you. Next, we're going to try Magical Memories of Moments. This to me is a very lyrical piece. I've written a lot of kids' book type work. I need an illustrator desperately and a for real publisher at this point, but here or there, Magical Memories of Moments. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We sure are.
I'm not.
Well, then, too damn bad for you. I was getting awful serious there. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Magical Memories of Moments. Here you go. It's turtles and frogs, cats and sheep, dogs. It's turkeys and geese and raccoons. It's now back in time with rhythm and rhyme. It's hay bales and harvest, full moons. It's fishing for catfish and bluegills. It's lightning bugs flashing at night. It's the colors of autumn at twilight. It's wild geese in formation and flight. It's the magical memories of moments when childhood was meant to explore. It's the trees and the woods and the tracks by the streams and the mysteries of forest galore. It's the pine trees and birch bark and cattails. It's the hoot of an owl at night. It's the stars high above, born of love. It's good memories that pass by in flight. Toss a stone in a pond and the ripples roll outward and onward away. Of such are the memories of childhood's long ago magical days. There you have it. Next we can go with Forever Free. The flowers are now flowering, the bumblebees are bumbling, springtime has come to be, there are millions of things on wings. The frogs are acting froggy like most frogs usually do. Almost everywhere you go is now become an outdoor zoo. Soon the crickets will be cricketing when comes the end of day, while coyote pups will be coyoteling or yelping to each other, loving life and lost in play. Lots of birds are laying eggs, soon chirping will come to be, while baby chicks grow feathered wings, soon to be forever free. The flowers are now flowering, the bumblebees are bumbling, springtime has arrived, millions of things are growing wings. The butterflies will soon be fluttering here and there, then off away, while the ladybugs and dragonflies are finally back to stay. Flying, buzzing, hopping, singing, springtime has finally come to be. Baby chicks are growing feathers, soon to be forever free. So I used to meet with a friend of mine named Fat Jack when I was dumb enough to live in Carson. I mean, when I lived in Carson City. Carson doesn't do well for me. Didn't do well for Mark Twain. He lasted about a month and a half playing mail secretary to Orion, his older brother. So at any rate, Fat Jack and I would meet over coffee. We would meet over coffee in the mornings for a certain period of our lives. And one morning he looks at me and he says, "JP, did I ever tell you that I used to drive yellow cab downtown New York City? For 20 years, 20 years I drove yellow cab downtown New York City." And I looked at him and I said, "You've got to be kidding me. I can't even imagine what you must have seen." And I said, "What about the jokes?" And he said, oh, thousands. Thousands of jokes. And I said, "Jack, you got to tell me your favorite out of all of them." So he says, "Let me scratch my brain overnight. Tomorrow morning when we meet, I'll tell you my favorite." I couldn't wait. Morning comes, take a sip off our coffee, and he says, "Are you ready? Are you ready?"
Ready.
A cabbie gets a drunk call. He drives down the particular bar, and he goes in, and the bartender says he's down at the end of the bar. He just fell off his stool. So the cabbie goes, "Marvelous." He goes down, he picks him up, and he's dragging this guy out, and he gets him up by the door, and there's no one to hold the door for him, so he leans him against the wall left of the door. Down he goes. Picks him up, gets him through the door, and he gets him out to the cab. Now his plan is to load this guy in the back seat of the cab, but he's got an armful of him again. He's like, so he leans him against the side of the cab and he holds him there. Gets the door. Down he goes again. At this point, he reaches in, he pulls the guy's wallet out, and he goes, 67 134th Street. I know about where that is. So he stuffs the wallet and it stuffs the guy in the back, closes the door, gets in, goes around, he drives over. Now, being New York City, this is a brownstone. So he's got to drag this guy up 8 or 10 steps. And he finally gets him up there, and he's trying to hit the buzzer. And so he leans him against the front of the building, left of the door, and down he goes again. At this point, he says, "You know what, the heck with this guy, just let him lay there." He hits the buzzer, and a lady comes to the door, and he says, "Ma'am, as you can see, I'm with Yellow Cab. Does this guy belong here?" And she says, "Why, yes, he does, but where's his wheelchair?"
Maybe we'll settle for a walker.
Yeah. All right, now moving right along, we're going to do one here in this collection called Too Much Information. Too much information. With a daily dose of information, my head was ready to explode. The energy connectors in my brain were beginning to corrode. My thinker wasn't thinking, my flashers and blinkers wouldn't blink. Everything was overwhelming. I had to stay afloat. It was either swim or sink. I've heard of information overload, but considered it a joke. Hey, it wasn't very funny when my ears began to smoke. I had tried to learn so much so fast, my head or brain was out of space. I had way too much information. You could see it in my face. I needed a vacation, a complete withdrawal from screens. I had gotten more than overwhelmed. There were computers in my dreams. On the information highway, I must have hit a tree. Some kids can navigate computers at the age of 2 or 3. If your brain begins to swell and your ears begin to smoke, grab a bucket of ice water and give your swollen head a soak. Next, we're going to go with my favorite kids' book, Lyrics. I really like this to be the first one that gets published out of probably 200 or 300 children's book lyrics that I've done at this point. This is still, I think, my favorite out of any of them. I did 60. I came back with about 60 last time I was over in the Monterey, Carmel area. This is my favorite. You ready?
Yes.
Way too cool. Way too cool. You got to add the illustrations in the color. I'll do the lyrics. Baby geese are goslings, joeys are baby kangaroos. I like pygmy goats. I like piglets and pygmy goats. It's up to you to choose. When ducklings learn to quack, you got to love the sound. However, baby platypus are very seldom to be found. Baby rhinos are rambunctious. Baby elephants are just too cool. Baby camels are real cute, except they sometimes like to drool. Who writes this stuff, Tom? Baby ostrich flap their tiny wings, yet never leave the ground. And baby moles are underground, very seldom to be found. Baby fish are pretty smart. They're most often in a school. Baby toads and turtles are truly way too cool. When baby owls learn to hoot, they're already pretty wise. If you have any doubt, just look into their eyes. Baby giraffe are pretty tall, even when just born. Baby bunnies are too cute, furry, friendly, warm, though. I've never seen a baby llama. My guess would be they like to laugh, and of course all baby kittens love to give themselves a bath. While baby baboons monkey around and baby crocodiles seem to smile, puppies grow up way too fast, small only for a little while. There are baby gnats and bats and beetles and lots of baby other things. We should try to love them all, with or without wings.
Because we do have other people that need going too.
Okay, we're going to close with ferns and mossy things. Ferns and mossy things. Me and Mrs. Moose had 2 baby mini mooses. Furry, cute, lanky, and strong. When hungry, they could harmonize a mossy, moosey, backward kind of song. Way back in the pine trees, there are ferns and mossy things to munch. They stayed close to Mother Moose and learned to munch ferns by the bunch. Baby mooses are almost a mystery. They grow up where things are mostly mossy, wild. Way up where they grow up, the northern weather's seldom mild. They grew up and did just fine way back in the trees. If you really listen, you can hear them harmonize, snort, and sing, and sometimes sneeze. Thank you very much. Have a great day, good day, and may God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you go. That's all you get for a nickel.
And guys, I think he's still got tickets to the underground, right? Sometimes.
For who?
For the underground. This guy is not only here sharing with us now, but he also is, oh, well, there they are. Tickets for the underground, guys. You may want to come see comedy at the, downtown.
When
You
is
know,
it?
what do they call that place? The Golden Turtle.
Pioneer.
The Golden Turtle. It's by the Golden Turtle. It's underground.
Pioneer Underground.
When is it?
Oh, I don't know. These are good through 5/17. Looks like.
They just get you into whatever you want.
Yeah, I think there's drinks too.
We do shows Fridays and Saturday nights. Fridays, they've been a little bit slow, so they've been doing one show on Fridays. And Saturday nights, generally a 6:30 show. Yours truly is the lead-in on that show. Then we do another one at 9:30. So 6:30 p.m. Fridays and another one at 9:30 Fridays, if you're interested. There you go.
That was very good, sir.
And are you there appearing some, or do you?
I am there once again, on Saturday nights at 6:30 on the lead-in,
And,
on the 6:30 show.
and he was nominated, I think, Poet Laureate for Nevada.
I'm
And-
looking
and